You are right up my street.
Oh, you can't make me choose.
I go by Toyota. Sponsors T4.
Fuck me, Lee Ryan's 13.
Marlene.
I remember we couldn't remember the word for table.
This is You're Welcome America, the podcast that explains what the bloody hell Brits are banging on about.
In every episode, we translate British pop culture for America.
And American pop culture for Britain.
You're welcome.
Do you know what? You're welcome.
You're welcome.
Yeah. Well, we're going to talk about it.
You didn't do that. I'm Ben.
Oh, I'm Ben.
I'm Frazer.
Frazer like Rosa. And I'm so excited because of the rain.
Guys, it's raining.
Which, as much as we joke, that actually is it's a particularly big deal right now post-fires.
Yes, we needed it. Yeah.
Why are you laughing?
Because there was a text sent out today saying that our friend could imagine you going around to everyone today saying, oh, we needed it.
No,
we needed the rain. We needed the
actually,
rain.
do you know what? We needed it. Needed it more than ever. Right, what's going on over there? Like tap, tap, tappy. What are you doing?
I'm just currently talking to what I assume to be a kind of an AI bot at the Virgin Atlantic headquarters. I might just be talking to Richard Branson himself.
Virgin bot. The Virgin headquarters is very Tracy Island in my head.
I'm currently trying to see if I can upgrade my seats from Premium Dream or whatever bullshit I'm in at the moment to Premium Economy using just my Virgin points.
How many Virgin points you got? I famously only collect Sky Miles.
Does anybody care?
I've got 20,000 at the moment, but they're telling me it's an additional $300 plus 25,000 points per passenger for both flights. So I'm now just trying to find out if I can upgrade just LA to London.
Does anybody care?
I thought that'd be nice. So we'll wait to see what they say.
See what they say.
Everyone can stay excited to see if I'm going to upgrade.
But you've only got, you need 25,000 and you...
That's for both ways.
Oh, I see.
I'm trying to find the single flight.
Got it. Well, we're really on the edge of our seats over here. Well, I did bring up the rain.
Oh, is this from your list of topics to talk to me about?
Yeah, the rain.
The rain.
The rain.
Or we could just talk like friends.
Oh.
We'd have to consult a list.
Oh, okay.
Wagon wheel, what to see?
Speaking of the rain, we were out in the rain last night. It felt very...
Oh, do you want to go to my second bullet that says high tops?
Panic than your list. I mean, this is what it's like being friends with you anyway. I know you love a list.
Love a list. Yeah, we did go out last night. We went out to High Tops.
To the Los Feliz satellite location. Strange crowd in there last night, wasn't it?
I mean, it's
always is.
a bar that is always just a bit off, that attracts a crowd that's just a bit off.
Yeah, like us.
Everything about, no, we're on. So many, what a bizarre place that is. I did point out that High Tops originally started in San Francisco, and you can really feel that slightly off edge to it.
We've really turned on San Francisco, haven't we?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, we had a fun time when we visited there, didn't we? But even then, do you remember people were insulting us because we said we lived in LA?
Were they?
Yeah, do you remember in that bar, in that gay bar? And they were like, oh, you guys are from LA? We're like, yeah, you live in San Francisco.
Yeah. And you're wearing what, like Toms or whatever.
Cost to upgrade only your outbound flight will be $86. And
Something.
not even all my points. 12,000 of my points.
That's something.
This is Future Frazer on a train to Norwich in the UK right now. And I didn't upgrade because I read the thing wrong and I didn't have enough points. So great.
Does anybody care?
You don't want to watch me upgrading my flight.
No.
Okay.
No. So we went out last night, and then while we're in the bar, tell you what, the bloody heavens opened.
It sure did.
Yeah. Oh, do you remember that DJ who brought in all those lamps?
Yeah, there was a DJ that brought in maybe kind of 15 different lamps and set them up around the DJ booth.
Yeah.
One of them was a lava lamp.
Yeah.
Very Evolutions, the shop.
Very, very gadget shop for me. Yeah.
And today I experienced something in the rain. I walked to the gym and I was wearing my coat, and I had a real coat with a hood up, and I was wearing shorts and walking in the rain. It felt very like my time in London, where I would get up early to get on the tube to go all the way to Shepherd's Bush to go to the gym before work.
Totally.
It really reminded me of being in it. You know, when your coat is as long as your shorts, so you look like you're just out wearing a coat.
Yeah. And just the feeling of rain on a leg.
A rain on a bare leg.
Rain on a gym-shorted bare leg.
Yeah.
I had that today as well.
And a wet sock inside of a a trainer. Now, why did you have that today, Ben? Gonna act like I don't know what you're gonna talk to me about. What did you do today in the rain?
Oh, I went and I did it indoors though. I went and ran 10K. Because I've got my High Rocks next week, famously.
Famously.
She's going to Vegas.
Thank God I'm out of the country while you're doing High Rocks. I don't know if I could handle the glamour of it all.
Oh God, I'm going to be so tired. But I am staying in the Virgin Hotel. Speaking of Virgin, our episode sponsor, I will be staying in the Virgin Hotel, and my room has a giant bath in it, so I'm excited about that. The hotel also has a Nobu, so I am planning on going by myself some undisclosed time to have a victory meal by myself.
My big question was going to be, because I know how like moody you're going to be in need of food afterwards. So what's the situation? So I think my race is at like 7 or 8 in the morning. Oh.
But then I'll be there and support people throughout the day, and then I'll peel off. But then all to say, I don't like a set time, but I'm gonna go by myself. I haven't drunk this year yet, so I'm excited. It'll be my first drink. It'll be a lychee martini.
You just out of your mind alone in Vegas.
Exactly, with one lychee martini and Nobu's famous blackened cod. It's gonna be lovely. And then I'm gonna go meet people.
You gonna see any shows?
Oh, Friday night I'm gonna go see David Copperfield.
Oh, fun.
It looks so weird.
Well, I mean, how old is David Copperfield? I thought he was long past.
Well, all I know is that theatre books up.
Yeah.
I was looking at the what
say
seat
that
to
again.
get. That theatre books up at the MGM Grand, I tell you. David's doing
He's
that
at the
business.
MGM Grand?
Yeah, he's been there for years.
I really imagined he was in the dusty old, I imagined him in the Excalibur.
It looks, in fact, I'm going to show you the trailer for the show. Okay. Imagine me going by myself. I might have a gummy. So we just watched the trailer, which is a little old, for the David Copperfield show.
Sure is old. It looks like if Scientology were trying to recruit someone using Jurassic Park, is how I would describe what you just showed me.
But I'm obviously very excited about the alien element.
Yeah.
That alien spaceship that's going to fly into the theatre.
It really looked like a Scientology recruitment video. I wouldn't be surprised if I never heard from you again. That theatre's really just a Scientology recruitment center, and then you just disappear afterwards.
I'm so excited about the merch. I want some really weird David Copperfield merch, like a t-shirt or something.
I mean, if that trailer was anything to go by, he's really relying on some old imagery of himself.
Yeah, that hair is definitely not his natural color, shall we say. So I've got that. You're going to the UK this week.
Sure am. Really excited. Can't wait to go to the American Embassy in Victoria.
By the dawn's early light. Let's play some basketball!
I don't know that one.
Yeah,
that's
the
the
real
rare one.
It's a real highlight.
But wait, so it's not the MI2, what am I trying to say?
MI2?
MI5.
Mission Impossible 2. How weird was it when they played... Oh, no, it wasn't Men in Black. It was Getting Jiggy With It last night.
Did they?
Yeah, do you not remember them playing Getting Jiggy With It?
But that was before the DJ with the lamps came in.
Yeah, pre-lamp DJ.
Pre-lamp DJ.
They were playing some real hits from the 2000s.
Also, there was a guy that I've been talking to in the apps for ages, and it was like 0 feet away. So I messaged him. I was like, "Oh, you at High Tops?" He's like, "I am." I was like, "Oh, I am too. I'll give you a shout if I see you." I didn't see him.
He must have been lying, because there wasn't enough people there to hide in the crowd.
So weird. Or maybe he took one look at me.
Oh yeah,
and left.
1,000,000% is what he did.
Exactly what happened.
I did hear someone throwing up in the toilet, so maybe it was that.
Should we get into some feedback?
Let's do it. Well, if you hear any rogue noises, by the way, for some reason my upstairs neighbors have decided to just make a lot of noise today. So just an audio issue, but whatever.
So CLC's got in touch. She sent us a lovely little a meme, I believe they call this. It's kind of like a picture from one of the in-flight magazines of like what you do in an emergency, and there's a picture of a characterized man going through the emergency exit, and it says POV, "You're on a Jet 2 flight and Jess Glynn Hold My Hand starts playing." Darling, hold my hand. Darling, hold my hand.
That song has been in my head since we recorded. Anytime my mind goes to rest, it just goes, "Darling, hold my hand," and now it's doing it again. So I had some live feedback from my mother, Ari Anastasia, and she called me and she said, "Oh, I listened to the podcast. Oh, I really liked that song that you mentioned. I really did like that song that you mentioned on there. It was the second or third one." And I went through and I listed every single song that we mentioned by Anastasia, and she couldn't understand which any of one of them was. And I sung them to her. And then she's like, no, not that one. No, not that one. No, not that one. I went through her entire back catalogue. And then she started trying to go back over them again to work out what song was what. And I told her I had to go and hung up the phone.
So we still don't know which song.
Still don't know which song is her favourite.
I mean, it has to be I'm Out of Love. Feels very her.
No, I think it might be
Not That Kind.
I think it might be Not That Kind, yeah.
Not that kind. George Northey's got in touch.
Has she now?
Yeah.
I have to weigh in on the Anastasia of it all because I know you guys think that I only know and / like 2 songs. Janet Jackson's Escapade, of course, and Kesha's Joyride. But actually, Anastasia's One Day in Your Life is the song that I remember from the first time I ever went to a gay bar in Syracuse, New York. And they pretty much played it every single time I ever went to that gay bar. I think it was just for 4 years. So while she wasn't big in the US generally, in small town, shitty gay bars, she was huge, and she's very important to me as my first gay bar song. So there you go. Bye.
One gay in your life.
And he's followed up with a very important piece of information that the gay bar itself was called Trex, Trexx.
Trex. And why not? Why Trex and not
Tracks. Hey.
That's odd.
Trex also were a brand of protein bar in the UK for a while. Do you remember? They had like the little chocolate topping on. Oh, not even protein bar. I feel like it was like a flapjack.
Are you thinking of a Tracker?
No. Don't you dare patronize me and ask me if I'm thinking of a Tracker.
Are you thinking of a Fruisley bar?
I think you're thinking of a Fruisley. Nutrigrain. My follow-up question really for George is, now I need to know if it was the European version or if it was the non-European version that he was listening to in Tracks.
It was the Syracuse version. It was the upstate New York version.
One day. She's an African grey, her name's Chanel.
So yeah, George famously only likes a handful of songs. He mentioned Escapade by Janet Jackson.
And Joyride by Kesha.
Kesha's been added, but he also likes MacArthur Park.
Yes, Donna Summer. He forgot that's the third song that he likes.
Third song he likes. So he didn't say if he liked One Day in Your Life. He just knows it.
Right.
I don't think I still think we're stuck in a list of 3. That playlist is limited.
And you had some live feedback that came directly to your ears.
Oh, I did. Oh, my God. Yeah, Michael just called me quite late and was like, you didn't tell me that you'd hooked up with a guy while you were staying in the desert. I was like, oh, my God, I don't want to talk to you right now. He's like, but this is what you wanted, me to hear and then call. And then I was just like, bye.
This is what you wanted.
Yeah.
Is it?
I was giving him what he wanted.
Yeah, that's...
Thank you.
We also heard from Kate in London on Instagram. She tried to remind us that Kate Lawler is still famous in the UK and not forgotten to her because she's apparently a massive mumfluencer. Which I don't like that term, Kate. I really don't.
Yeah.
It's like mum talk.
Oh,
You seen mum talk?
No, but I don't want it.
And then she also said she's been singing Darling Hold My Hand all morning at Luton Airport.
She was with my friend Jen.
Yeah.
Yeah, the two of them. I wonder where they were going. Luton Airport.
Kate, let us know where you were going.
Yeah, Cyprus?
A mumfluencer trip?
Yeah, where, like, Bulgaria? I
Oh.
don't know. Not Newark Airport, because it looks like they no longer fly to Newark. Yeah. So that's all the feedback, I think. If you do want to get in touch, give us a shout. Give us a shout on our Instagram. You can email us at...
You're welcome, americapodcast@gmail.com. George was asking how to get in touch, and then I said, oh, you can send us an email. And he was like, I'm not going to do that.
Wow.
We also heard from Colleen Mabin. Where does she live?
I think she's in Vancouver.
Oh, Vancouver. And Colleen says, I would have emailed, but despite listening to every episode, I can't remember the address. Colleen, come on now. You're welcome, americapodcast@gmail.com.
I mean, I can barely remember.
Slides off the tongue. I would love to, a thought. I would love to hear you speak to some shows, particularly Traitors that have a UK and US version. I love Claudia Winkleman and the UK Traitors, though I would like the US version. Thought I would like the US version because of Alan Cumming, but nope. Also for consideration is Drag Race. The Canadian version is hosted by a Canadian, features Canadian judges and culture, Orville Peck. It's great. Anyway, love the show. I also love Ben calling out those of us who follow but have yet to rate and review. Just saying, loving you from Vancouver.
Well, my first question for you, Colleen Mabin, have you reviewed? Have you rated and reviewed?
So, Colleen, what I will say is we covered the first series of Canada's Drag Race for Afterthought Media back in the day.
Back in the day.
So we were, and I've subsequently have watched maybe another 2 seasons of Drag Race Canada. I think I skipped one, and I really like Drag Race Canada. It feels like the kind of cultural sister to UK Drag Race. It's got a bit more scrappiness and kind of fun to it.
The Commonwealth.
Yeah.
I've obviously realized that I do not like drag or Drag Race, so I have not watched it since that first season.
And then where do you stand on the Traitors? Because I haven't seen anything of the Traitors, and my personal issue with it is that I don't quite want to get into the kind of game of it all. Is something that doesn't really appeal to me. I really like the US Traitors, how they use all people from Survivor, Big Brother, and all like Bravo people. I like the way that's, because the UK version is just normal people that they kind of turn into stars, and then the US version is people from reality TV that they put on the Traitors. So
isn't Bob in the US version?
Yeah. And I really like the idea of the US version because of that, but there's something about the game of it all that really turns me off. And I can't quite explain why. Thoughts?
Well, obviously it is in my home country of Scotland. I do... Yeah, here's the thing. I think if I lived in the UK, it's hard for us to watch the UK churches. I actually don't know how we can do it. I would probably prefer that version because of like the regular people like, oh, Linda from Canterbury or whatever.
Linda is the star of the latest.
Oh, well, there you go.
series.
Exactly.
I know. I watched a video of people at a viewing party, I think at like a gay bar, like maybe it was the Royal Vauxhall Tavern or something, and there was all these huge like rows of chairs, and they were watching the final of the Traitors. That looked really fun.
Totally. If we were in the UK as a winter warmer, we would totally watch that. Obviously,
instead of dancing on ice.
Exactly. Too chilly. Dancing nice. Let's go up to that remote Scottish castle and wear a hood, a cloak and a hood. Claudia, wonderful. Love her.
I think we've done an episode on her, Colleen, if you want to check out the archives, I think.
Yeah. So all for that. And then the US version, I actually don't enjoy, in quotation marks, celebrity contestants because I don't care and I don't watch half those shows. I want like a 60-year-old Linda. I saw a really fun thing with Alan Cumming the other day. My coffee's really hit, can you tell? And he was saying that he was posing in a jockstrap, and it was a quote about how he's like, oh, I wear a jockstrap every day, and something about how it makes him feels great. It's like a fun secret that he has going on. Good for him. What?
Are you wearing one right now?
I'm not wearing one right now. I'm wearing some Uniqlo undies. Yeah.
I'm not wearing any underwear right now.
Oh, she's at home and she's cozy. She's dead
I'm
comfy.
I will admit that before you got here, I was so cold that I was in my bed with my laptop in my bed, just kind of.
It has been cold.
Yeah, and this apartment, all it ever is boiling hot or freezing cold. I can't find a happy medium.
It's my 1920 shack that I live in.
Yeah,
although
it's like that whole wall there is basically exposed to the elements and is made of like crepe paper and a dream. That's why it can't hold anything in.
Well, thank you so much for
Los
everyone
Angeles,
getting in touch. What we like. Thank you everyone for getting in touch. Please rate and review us, as Colleen said. Drop us an email and give us a shout on Instagram.
You look so fucking pleased with yourself. I want to throw that hot coffee in your face. Anyway.
Look warm now.
We're back. And old Smugs McGee over there wants to talk about something American that I don't know about.
I'm just excited because it's a fun topic. So we've already talked about high tops once this episode, but a couple of weeks ago we're in fucking high tops on a Friday to watch Drag Race. It was too busy.
It was too busy.
Way too busy.
We were wedged in the corner watching it, weren't we?
Oh, standing by a bloody emergency exit. I don't
know.
You
were very grumpy because you couldn't get any food.
So hungry. Anyway, so we're watching it. Fine. It was a good episode. And at the end, they did a lip sync song. And none of you knew it. And it was a song by Paula Abdul called The Way That You Love Me.
How have we not talked about Paula Abdul already?
Exactly. Why do you think I'm excited?
I don't believe you. I feel like we've made a mistake here.
So then I was thinking, oh, I need to show them all. There's a really great performance she did from the 1990 American Music Awards. for The Way That You Love Me, so you're going to watch it. So I'm hoping you've played a little snippet of the song there, but we just watched Paula Abdul, The Way You Love Me from the 1990 Music Awards. Reactions?
First of all, I will say, just to stick to the theme of the episode, she is dressed like she's working for Virgin Airlines. She's wearing a red blazer.
Or Jet 2.
Or Jet 2. She kind of has a... the theme of that performance seems to be kind of a businesswoman who is using scaffolding.
Yeah.
And then inexplicably halfway through the performance, she kind of comes out on kind of a hovercraft. Feels very similar to the Rise of the Resistance ride at Disneyland.
It's also a little bit Robot Wars.
Yes, very Robot Wars. You're right.
But it's an absolute...
The choreography was amazing. She did Cheryl's Swan Dive.
Well,
Paula's Swan Dive.
Thank you.
I couldn't tell you one single lyric of that song. It was like, she was like, hey, it was just like a gorgeous, like, late 80s, early 90s
A black
sound.
limousine.
Yeah. something for me.
Okay, so Paula Julie Abdul. I thought you'd like the fact her middle name's Julie.
Julie.
Julie. Paula Julie Abdul began her career as a cheerleader for the Los Angeles Lakers.
She sure did. Most famous Laker they've ever had.
And later became the head choreographer for the Laker Girls, where she was discovered by the Jacksons. So she then did lots of choreo for Janet, which you can very much see. And then she got kind of discovered as an artist, and in 1988, she released her debut studio album, Forever Your Girl. What a great title. So on that album, okay, we've got Straight Up.
Yep.
Forever Your Girl.
Yep. With Keanu Reeves in the music video.
Cold Hearted.
Snake.
And Opposites Attract.
I take things serious and you take them light. I go to bed early and I party all night.
So we did get a little glimpse in that American Music Awards.
DJ Skat Kat.
DJ Skat Kat. Now, what's confusing about DJ Skat Kat, an animated cat, is he doesn't scat.
He certainly doesn't.
I do remember when Oh, and I should say as well, with this album, 6 #1 singles. And it means that Abdul is tied with Diana Ross.
I'm a scat man.
That's
for
wild.
#1s. Is that not bananas? As of 2025, Abdul places 7th for most female with most #1s, alongside Diana Ross and Lady Gaga.
That's amazing.
Was she part of your life growing up, music-wise?
My brother loved Opposites Attract.
Oh.
And that was my kind of gateway. I didn't really have a lot of her music in my life. I've learnt more about her later in life, but Opposites Attract had a huge impact on me because, my brother loved it. And I think me and him would sing it like, I think I would be Paula and he would be Skat Kat. Which is kind of gross when you think about it because they're kind of singing at each other. But I love the lyrics to Opposites Attract. It's all about like he loves smoking and spending money.
It's just what a cat would do. A scatty cat might do. I do remember when I can you believe, by the way, it's coming up for my 10-year anniversary of moving to LA.
Oh, I mean, I can.
So 10 years ago when I moved here and I worked on James Corden's show.
I'm a scat man.
While I was there working some stuff, he did a sketch with Paula Abdul. Okay, I'm going to pitch it to you. It's awful, but also great. They basically performed live Opposites Attract, where he was Skat Kat.
Right.
In full, like, Roger Rabbit. Kind of like Roger Rabbit, but, oh no, in post, we'll blur that out and put in the cartoon character. So they did it live.
Right.
And she worked her ass off.
Right.
She requested for she was like, no, I'm going to come in extra early for like a week and rehearse and make sure it's perfect. Good for her.
She's a trooper.
She's such a trooper. So over the years, she's choreographed for a bunch of movies.
Well, I mean, I know what we're going to end up talking about.
Well, we haven't got there yet. But she's choreographed for such movies as Coming to America, American Beauty.
What?
I don't know. Did she choreograph that poly bag that flies around? And The Running Man.
Wow.
Is there not?
Is there a dance sequence in The Running Man?
I think in The Running Man, like when they're introing different characters.
Oh, they have like the studio portion of The Running Man, don't they? So
Yeah.
it's that they did have like Running Man dances.
Yeah. And I have to say, the Running Man set, not dissimilar to what we just watched at the American Music Awards. That's those trestles and scaffolding.
God, The Running Man is such a... We need to watch that.
I love that movie.
Seeing as I just watched Total Recall.
Okay.
The woman in Total Recall looks like Paula Abdul.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Like I couldn't work out if it wasn't her, was or wasn't her for a while when I was watching it.
And we're talking about the original Total Recall, not the one with Kate
Beckinsale's
Beckinsale.
hair. Not the one where Kate Beckinsale's hair is top billing. Then Kate Beckinsale, then Colin Farrell.
I think I saw the remake of Total Recall with Kate Beckinsale with Michael.
Yeah.
We went to like the cinema, the UGC, whatever it's called.
UCI.
UCI. UGC, I don't know.
UTI.
Whatever. UTI.
That was a masterpiece in kind of nonsense.
Yeah.
The Total Recall remake.
Did you ever watch, side note, the RoboCop remake?
Yes, I did.
It's pretty good.
Yeah. I love the original RoboCop.
Oh, me too. So good. My favorite part, you will not be surprised, in the original RoboCop, is when they're selling the house that he got shot in, and the RoboCop walks into the house and it's empty, but there's a virtual realtor who's like, "Welcome,"
yeah,
but inside a TV screen.
Yes.
Oh, so good. Anyway,
feels right to be talking about Paula Abdul and then RoboCop. It just does.
Totally. Again, she probably did the choreography in that. I bet in RoboCop 3 there's a dance sequence. I'm going to give you a fun fact. RoboCop 3, I think, is the one where he flies.
Oh, I don't know if I ever got to 3.
So
I remember 2.
So they ran out of budget for the third one, and they ended up getting a different actor, but they couldn't afford to get a new suit. So the suit doesn't fit him.
Was it too big for him or too small?
I think it's too big at times.
Clanking around in there.
Yeah, it's pretty good though. Okay, so Paula, like, she was a stalwart, all kinds of music, all kinds of choreography, heavy influence on Janet Jackson. Now, here's the thing. What?
Also influenced what?
What?
Didn't she? The Ariana Grande's video is based for Yes and is based on Cold Hearted, the Paula Abdul.
Absolutely, the kind of that walking shot at the beginning. We just see her little.
No, and all the like the
scaffolding,
the scaffolding, and the the blinds opening and closing.
Oh yeah.
She uses the exact same.
So
she's got such a good, her or whoever she works with. She chooses so wisely, doesn't she, Ariana Grande?
But that album
She's got her finger on the pulse.
That album got no Grammy nominations.
It's crazy.
I know. She got an Oscar nom though.
Yeah.
Anyway, you do bring up a good point. We've now got, because I don't want to go into like the whole laughing at Paula period of like, she's crazy.
Right.
She's
like the American Idol kind of.
Yeah, it's just not. It's not fun because Paula, kind of in a separate way to like Eliza Minnelli, like, you know, some people think that Eliza Minnelli is a bit of a kind of like cookie joke.
Yeah.
Paula's actually so hugely influential and created her own kind of style of dance and choreography. And the fact that now people like Ariana Grande are paying homage to her really kind of says it also. I'm glad culturally we've got back round to that.
Yeah, even though we're in the toilet kind of on a global scale, I do feel like the one thing we have lost is the meanness of that side of culture.
Well, it's definitely making a comeback.
Oh, it's coming. It's on the horizon.
Yeah.
Perez Hilton is booting up that laptop and getting PerezHilton.com back going again. I feel like we're about to head back into like that kind of period of time of like madness.
Do you think?
That ghoul.
I'm amazed we've never... Does he still live in LA?
I think so, yeah.
I'm amazed we've never like just seen him somewhere.
What a ghoul.
Oh dear. Anyway, yeah, so she was on American Idol and people make fun of her and sort of she, you know, at times seemed a bit slurred and everything. But it may all be connected to the Paula Abdul plane crash conspiracy. So in the early 90s, she... Now, I'm gonna butcher it, but just I'm gonna give you broad brushstrokes. Early 90s, she was on tour and she was in a plane crash.
Okay.
and she severely hurt her back and her spine, and to this day has real kind of spinal back issues.
Okay.
So I think there might be, but then also, so anyway, I think there might be some sort of connection with medication and that ongoing injury.
Okay.
Which has affected things.
But is this a conspiracy?
Well, it's a conspiracy because despite the fact she's talked about it publicly a few times, there's no official record of the plane crash.
Oh.
So it's all very like, what's going on?
Ooh, I do love a good kind of slightly nonsense conspiracy like that. Not anything that's connected to kind of politics or... I like silly ones about people. Like the Avril Lavigne one I find fascinating.
Oh,
Remember that one that she was replaced by a clone in... Oh, yeah. I actually Googled it while you were saying that.
Okay.
So it started in 2011. There was a rumor that came about that said that she had died in 2003. Oh, and she's replaced by a body double who's named Melissa Vandella.
It's all a little bit Poot Lovato.
It is. I do think, of all the famous people, I do think you could replace Avril Lavigne with a clone. I think.
Well, here's the thing. Going back to the Anastasia episode, the thing about Avril Lavigne, she's Canadian. So everything's just a bit off.
I'm a scat man. So you think that's why it seems like she's a clone?
Yeah. But actually, she's completely normal.
She's just Canadian.
She's Canadian. She's just a normal Canadian. But again, look, the Commonwealth, we're bound to them for life. So, of course, the early 2000s, she was on Idol. Of course, she got her own reality show.
Hey, Paula!
Exclamation mark. So, Hey Paula was on Bravo. I found a very weird opening sequence, but also with her crying, which isn't that fun, but I do want you just to see the visuals.
Please.
So what we just watched there was the opening credits of Hey Paula. Now, I will point out that the very first shot, the opening credits, is a shot of her falling over.
Yeah, I'd say kind of 8 out of 10 of the shots they used of her in those opening credits was to make a mockery of her.
Yeah, which is not great.
No.
But then it went into, and also the music is, she's clearly singing the song, but it does make me feel like I've got a fever or something.
Yeah.
Everything's just a bit off.
Canadian.
She's not Canadian though. No. And then it goes into a sequence where what's she wearing?
The infamous sequence.
The infamous sequence.
She's wearing a very flat Baker Boy hat.
Yeah.
And the top of it looks almost like a ship from Star Trek. a ship from Star Wars. Kind of like a what are those ships called?
the Enterprise.
Flat ones.
Enterprise.
No, in Star Wars.
Star Wars.
I don't know. Maybe I'm thinking of the Enterprise. She's wearing
it looks like the Enterprise.
She's wearing a Baker Boy hat that looks like the Starship Enterprise.
And in that scene, it's quite specifically, it's from a storyline from the 7 episode, one and only season of Hey Paula, where she finds out that she's not going to be choreographing the Bratz movie.
Yes, the infamous Bratz meltdown, as it was called at the time. Have you read the details about the Bratz of it all?
No.
Because I think it's pretty harsh. It was that she was meant to. It wasn't just that she was meant to choreograph. I think she was meant to be like a costume designer. She was meant to have loads of input into that movie. Like basically it was going to be her whole thing, and they dropped her for kind of unknown reasons. I think she lost a lot of like money, and I think she was genuinely upset because it was meant to be this like creative thing that she was going to do.
She's very Bratz-like, isn't she? I do want to tell you about the 7 episodes for Hey Paula, just some of the storylines. So episode 1, This Is My Life. Paula gets all glamorous to attend the Grammy Awards, but her pooch chomps, choosing her loaned $1 million ring.
Oh dear. I see what Bravo were doing.
Paula hosts a charity event to help animal victims of Hurricane Katrina. Later she appears on the Home Shopping Network once again and prepares for an appearance at The Late Show with David Letterman. And then it goes, next episode, Paula's stuck in Philadelphia after doing a segment QVC until the snowstorm dies down.
I'll watch
it's
that
just
one.
like, geez, it's really quite...
It's kind of got because I guess that show was around the same time as Kathy Griffin, My Life on the D-List, but the whole thing that Kathy Griffin has, she had kind of complete control over her humiliating herself on that show. Like that was kind of the point of the show, so she was in on the joke, and that show was obviously so successful. I feel like they were definitely trying to humiliate Paula Abdul and without her wanting to be.
And also back then, Kathy had like a full like tour dates and everything.
Right.
So there was always something going on. It wasn't just like, oh, I'm going to QVC today and going Letterman. It was like, okay, we're now doing the tour here. We're now doing this. We're now doing that. So it was, yeah. I saw actually a really good clip from My Life in the D-List this morning. It's Kathy speaking to her mum being like, why? This is very your mum, actually.
I know exactly what you're talking about, the tissues.
Why do you have tissues stashed away in like every pocket, every orifice? What do you need them for?
Yeah.
And she's like, it's like she keeps on talking about some sort of sneeze attack that's going to happen. It's never happened. It's never going to happen.
What if I was caught out in public needing a tissue and I didn't have one?
And Kathy's like, my home has 7 bathrooms. We'll get you one. So yeah, that was the TV show Hey Paula. I think it's the kind of thing like if we tried to rewatch it, it would actually just be really
grim.
Yeah. Really sad. So all to say, that's Paula Julie Abdul for you. I am pleased, as I said, the fact that today she actually gets proper respect.
Yeah.
And she's always on her Instagram, she's always out and about doing really lovely things like, oh, today I visited this dance studio and they do such great work and they help the kids get to college and inspire them through dance. And like, she's got no affiliation with them, but she's just like,
she's there.
Yeah. And she's such a performer and such a, good for her. Who do we think? Do you know anyone in life called Paula, by the way?
Not our age.
No, that's another good mum's name for the 90s.
It is.
Paula.
Paula is a great mum name. And Julie.
Paula and Julie.
Yeah.
I'm sure I've told you before, my friends' parents in school, Paul and Paula. Pretty good.
Love that.
Okay, so who is the UK equivalent of Paula Abdul? Do you have any thoughts?
Well, it's tricky, isn't it? Because I'm trying to focus in on certain details, like the dance of it all. I'm trying to think if there's kind of an influential
Beth
performer.
Beth. Girls Loud choreographer Beth.
You know, I'm trying to think of like I don't feel we have like a UK dance kind of influential performer, do we? Or do we?
Louis Spence?
Maybe. Oh, Louis Spence is kind of an interesting one.
I was going to go with Cilla Black.
Oh.
Because there's a kind of the music career into TV, kind of kooky, beloved, could be a meme. And so I just felt like Cilla Black like could be a bit of a Paula Abdul in a way.
But she's also the kind of good to Cilla's evil.
Yeah. Does everyone out there know the fact that there is
I think the world started to... Because there's that famous picture of Cilla Black stealing that person's seat in a restaurant. Have you ever seen that?
No, let me look at that. Cilla Black...
Restaurant table.
Restaurant. I met Cilla Black once. She sat at a table I'd reserved and refused... Oh!
Have you never seen this?
This picture?
Yeah!
She's basically sitting at a table and kind of like giving a face to say, well, it's mine now. I'd just join her. Okay, well, what about a hybrid?
Cilla Black and Louis Spence. I'll take it.
It's pretty good.
Interesting.
So the UK equivalent of Paula Abdul is Cilla Black x Louis Spence.
You're welcome.
You're welcome. So we've done the US. We've done it. Close that chapter. Explained the entirety of the US. UK, what's going on?
So I'm going to be discussing a UK city.
Oh,
and
if you say something like Bradford,
we've done a few, but this city is weirdly something. A very specific landmark comes up in this city a lot when we're talking about things. Okay. And I thought, we've never really discussed it, and I don't really know about your experience of visiting there. So let me name some famous people from this city, and I'm going to see if you can hone in on what city this is. J.K. Rowling. The comedian Russell Howard.
What?
Ex-Big Brother star and now host of This Morning, Josie Gibson.
What?
Damien Hirst. And then I'll give you one final one, which you might get it. Banksy.
I don't know where Banksy's from.
You bloody fool. I'm talking about the beautiful city of Bristol.
Bristol.
No,
so this episode is Paula Abdul and Bristol.
I thought that because we didn't know what each other's topics were, and I love thinking of the names together. As soon as you said her name, I thought, Paula Abdul and Bristol. Really great. No, the reason is because you know how I always talk about the Clifton Suspension Bridge.
Do you?
Yeah, I've talked about this a lot. It's whenever we've done the Drag Race episodes, so maybe that's why you don't remember. But whenever we talk about a contestant that's from Bristol, it's because of Cheddar Gorge. And the Clifton Suspension Bridge is hanging over the Cheddar Gorge.
But wait, you didn't talk about the most famous people from Bristol, Wallace and Gromit.
We'll get there.
Okay.
I've got a real multi-artistic and ideas tour of Bristol, so don't you worry. Now, it's worth noting that the reason I love the Clifton Suspension Bridge so much is not only because I've been there and seen it, but I very specifically learnt about the bridge building engineer Isambard Kingdom Brunel when I was in primary school, and for some reason that name and the fact that he built the Clifton Suspension Bridge has never left my mind. So I love paying homage to my favourite, engineer. You don't have one?
I don't know. I like the engineers from Prometheus.
Oh my god. Oh, we watched it together, didn't we? The latest. I rewatched it because they put it on streaming.
Alien Romulus.
Yeah, Romulus.
Romulus.
And I enjoyed it just as much on my second viewing.
Me too. I rewatched it on the plane.
I've seen some kind of negativity about it, and I'm not sure what people's fucking problems are.
I think it was very good.
It's like, I think people were mad that it was all young people. They thought it was too Gen Z, and that they reused a lot of the same kind of ideas for set pieces and things, or tried to, they used like similar shots, and that guy used the line about stay away from her, you bitch, or whatever. But I'm like, when we're living in an age where they make a movie with that much money that looks that good, everyone just needs to accept that it's good. Does that make sense?
It's just that it's a good movie.
I just think there's so much shit that gets made with so much money that looks terrible and is awful. We need to just appreciate the Alien franchise. Bristol.
Back to Bristol.
Back to Bristol. The real xenomorph of the UK. So first of all, I just wanted to gauge from you, have you ever even been there?
Of course I have, yeah. So Wentz. My friend Sabrina lived there for a while. I went with my friend Hattie once. Then I was there. Oh, because they had the studio where they filmed Deal or No Deal as well.
Yes.
And I went down to film something there.
That really kept the Bristol economy going for quite some time, Deal or No Deal.
And obviously I went out for a night out and ended up on that boat. Thekla.
I think Noel Edmonds is from Bristol as well. He was in the long list of people that are from there.
Yeah, maybe.
I feel like Bristol, when you said that, I think my friend lived there and someone definitely lived there. To me, it's a city where everyone in the UK knows someone who has lived there at some point.
Yeah, totally.
That people have really passed through and, not really set up roots there.
But how would you describe the vibe of a Bristol uni? Of Bristol uni, the people who go to Bristol uni?
Bristol uni or Bristol students, because that was my entry point. My friend was a nursing student, so it wasn't, that was a separate kind of specific thing. But as a university town, it has kind of a slightly grungy, hippie-ish vibe meets maybe some posh people.
Yes.
It's kind of posh. It's kind of got that Trustafarian. You might have a white person with dreadlocks who is acting that they don't have any money but are from a very rich family. It's got kind of an artsy-fartsy meets rich people kind of fusion.
Yeah, totally. There's definitely a large pocket of people from private schools that go there for uni.
Yes.
For sure.
And then, it's also got just a very specific hippie vibe, which we'll get to in the comparisons.
I'm very confused. Is Bristol geographically, is it near water? No, it's on a river. Or is it where is it?
It's on the river and on the coast.
Because is it on the coast?
Yeah, it has a harbour.
Okay, because every time I think of Bristol, I feel a little cold and there's a bit of a breeze.
Oh no, hang on.
No, I don't think it's on the coast.
No, it's oh no. Let's start that again. So it's not on the coast. It is built around the River Avon, but it does have a harbour, so it's like a big river.
Yeah, that's what's always confusing to me, because when I'm there, I'm like, are we on the coast? I think I can hear a seagull, and yet it's a river?
So, speaking of it being cold in Bristol to me is often a little bit like Manchester, where I don't know if in the many years that I visited my friend who was a nursing student there, I don't know if I ever went at a time where it wasn't raining, including one very specific time where she had I think it was a party. Someone had a party where you had to come with their costume starting with a certain letter. And I went in I went as a caveman, so it's prehistoric. I think it was a pea party. And I distinctly remember I was wearing a piece of fabric which I turned fashioned into a loincloth. I had a plastic kind of caveman club. little headband, and I believe that I thought it was a good idea, inexplicably, to wear flip-flops.
Well, caveman.
I think in my head, I was thinking,
Well, you
a
were
shoe would ruin the illusion. I think I maybe even put some fur around the thong area of the flip-flop.
I mean, in your head, you're probably like hoping for a gladiator sandal,
Yes.
but you're like, I'll just wear a flip-flop.
Yes, exactly. And I have a distinct memory of us leaving a bar and trying to walk back to where my friend lived, and it was torrential rain. And obviously these were the days where we would never have even thought to get a taxi because we could have walked. And I just remember it was so wet and my flip-flops were so cheap that the bottom of them had become almost instantly, and it was so hard to walk that at one point, I don't know why I didn't just take them off, but it's because it was really wet and cold. At one point, I was holding onto the railings of like an old church as I was going along, and I was essentially hanging off of these railings and like going arm to arm, like to be able to walk because my feet wouldn't stay flat to the ground. Like I was trying not to slide into traffic on a hill.
And where
it's
were
very
you
hilly
going?
there as well.
Oh, very hilly there. And where are you going?
This is post the club to the house.
Okay.
Or like... This is very scattered, all these thoughts I have about this, but the other thing about that place is that...
That place.
About Bristol is that my friend who was a nursing student there, shout out to you, Leah, is that at some point she really told me she was into funky house. So I believe we went to some kind of alt... I think that night was set in some kind of alt club that played funky house. And I was very annoyed about that.
Funky house. So I've actually just had a vivid flashback. I went once with Michael and Tom. Oh my God. Tom. I once went with Michael and Tom Allen was living there.
Oh.
And we stayed with him and we went on a night out to a gay bar.
Queen Shilling.
I don't think it was. I don't. It was this place where you basically pay. I think it was like £20 in the door.
Right.
Yeah, a wristband. All you can drink.
No. We were just talking about this recently, weren't we? That people in the UK can't be trusted with an open bar on all you can drink. It's not.
But that's because I saw advertised on Instagram a place in Soho now in London where between, I mean, to be fair, they're very specific with the times. It's like between 8 and 9 or 8 and 9:30, Monday to Thursday. It's you pay a price and it's unlimited nachos and unlimited margaritas.
You mean PM, right? Not
oh yeah,
a breakfast margarita and a breakfast nacho.
Marg.
But yeah, but even I think it's even worse with the time limit because then it makes British people
gotta
it's
get
like
my worth.
complete panic. Yeah, it's not to always talk about that same one place in London called Bunga Bunga. Remember that I went to maybe 4 separate birthday parties where it was unlimited Prosecco whilst you ate food in a window of time. So everyone was losing their mind trying to drink as much as possible. I'll never forget that place. It really haunts my nightmares.
What about, I'm gonna say another club to you. The Fez Club.
Oh yeah, that was my university. We were affiliated with the Fez Club.
Oh, really?
In Putney.
There was one in Oxford. There was a few.
Yeah.
There's one in Reading I went to. There's one in Oxford. I remember going after my friend's birthday, her 21st, and afterwards I tried to go to KFC to get like whatever, and we weren't allowed in because someone had been like stabbed.
Oh shit!
And I was like, oh, I just want some fucking KFC. Yeah.
I danced. My only memory of the Fez Club, like truly in my head, is dancing to Jamelia's Superstar on a light up dance floor.
That sounds fun.
People always talk about.
Shout out back to the fucking high tops we're at last night. Some of the music they were playing, like One Thing by A. Marie, really took me back. Anyway, back to Bristol.
And Deja Vu by Beyonce.
Deja Vu.
I think it's worth noting that when you list the famous musical acts that have come out of Bristol, it really paints a picture of what that town is like. Massive Attack, Portishead, what was the other? Tricky, Ronnie Size.
Ronnie Size represents.
Yeah, just some real like tough. Oh God! It's also worth noting that David Williams and Matt Lucas are from Bristol. That explains a lot.
By the way, side note, whatever happened to KTB?
Ben, I was just thinking the other day that I wanted to talk to you about KTB to find out where she's from.
Witch's Brew, because for some reason she came on. I've got a great playlist called Drama, like drama, and I play it when I'm driving around at night in LA. And there's a KTB song in that I really like. KTB.
Is it the one, that really terrible one where she sounds out of tune in it? Turn the music up.
No, it's that one she did with fucking Waitrose face.
What? Waitrose face.
Oh my God, Jessie Ware.
Oh. Waitrose face.
Oh my God, KTB. Kathleen Ann Brian? No, professionally it's KTB.
That's a terrible, terrible stage name.
She's a bit like Jess. What's her name?
Jess Glynn?
No, Barefoot Eden Project. Joss
Stone.
Wait a minute.
Anyway, side note about KTB.
We really got lost out of. She feels like she could be from Bristol as well originally,
So
but
Bristol.
lying and pretending she's from London.
Oh, I'm also going to say a musical genre to you. Drum and bass.
Yes.
That's a real Bristol thing, right?
You completely at Roddy's size. It's like
Oh,
drum and bass is so Bristol. And it's also, I also just want to shout out to my friend Leah. When she lived in a student house, and I was going to university in London, and I was living in this student house after I'd lived in the accommodation, and I was living in this hideous like housing estate in South London. It was very scary, and like there was a lot of like police issues we had, and we got like burgled. There was just a lot of like terrible stuff happening, and we lived in this tiny house that we spent so much money on, even as students. And then I would go and visit my friend Leah, and she lived in this like Georgian townhouse that was like one of the most beautiful buildings I have ever seen in my life. And there, where she lived, it was a square, so it was literally like a Georgian, like a square. It was gorgeous. It had a park in the middle, like a gated park. It looked like something from a period drama. And because Bristol was such kind of she lived on a very edgy part of Bristol. It was the famous prostitution area.
Fun. That's square in the middle.
Yeah, no, truly. And it's where the local sex workers would get picked up and dropped off. It was this one square. So we would, first of all, we would catcall people out of the window that were trying to solicit sex work, which is, it was very immature of us. But also they were really friendly with the sex workers and like got on really well with them. And it was just such a specific, it felt very Bristol that it was this gorgeous old building, but it was also the kind of seedy, in quotation marks, part of Bristol. But I loved that. But yeah, that house it's one of the most beautiful places I've ever seen. And it's just wild that a bunch of students were living there.
I've also just had a flashback to going to one of those restaurants, Bill's in Bristol.
That's a very Bristol place.
Yeah.
It's a very attractive city.
It is.
It's really, really nice. It's got like really nice architecture.
My friend, other Frazer, lives in Bristol.
Living my alternate life in
His
Bristol.
name spelled Fraser.
Frazer has left the building.
Wow. So you mentioned it earlier, but I would say outside of, Banksy, the famous artist, and Cary Grant, the actor I looked up, was born in Bristol and then moved to America. I think the most famous residents or exports of Bristol are Wallace and Gromit. So it's worth noting that Aardman Animation is from there. And then just a quick shout out to that couple that we met at that bar in Highland Park who...
An American
couple who...
And talked about how they overheard us talking. We ended up talking to them and they said, oh yeah, we've definitely talked about this before in the podcast.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we lived in Bristol for a while. And we jokingly went, what, did you work for like Aardman Animation and Wallace and Gromit? They're like, yeah, we did.
It was just so specific because, first of all, they were like, oh, we used to live in the UK. And we were like, oh, here we go. They're going to talk to us about London. Mm-hmm. And then they said Bristol. We were like, what?
Did you watch that recent Wallace and Gromit?
No, but I've heard good things about it.
Yeah.
Quick shout out to the shopping centre in Bristol, which was called Cribs Causeway, just because I felt like I often would hear my friend Leah talking about whether they were going to go to Cribs Causeway. So that's something good. Maybe that's for another time, what's going on at Cribs Causeway. Did you know that the first series of the show Skins was set in Bristol? Which also makes perfect sense.
So much sense.
Because those kids were they were at drum and bass raves, weren't they?
Some like day glow paint on their face and some ratty hair.
Exactly. So, I was trying to think about what is the US equivalent of Bristol.
I've got a weird one.
Is it Portland? Oregon? See, I was torn between... I'm really focused on kind of the hippiness of Bristol. So I was trying to... I was thinking, like, is it specifically like the Castro, days of San Francisco and kind of the Haight-Ashbury kind of heyday of San Francisco. But I think that's almost too kind of glamorous, and I wanted somewhere a bit kind of grittier and a bit more annoying. So my mind instantly went to Portland, Oregon. And I thought, I bet you... To me, it's not necessarily like a 1-for-1, but it's like the drum and bass, in my head, the drum and bass culture of Bristol feels like it would translate to an annoying kind of Portland vibe, music thing now. It's very like, it's a lot of people with piercings. I just think you'd get white people with dreadlocks in Portland still.
Yeah, I think
much like in Bristol.
Totally fair.
I think they should become Twin Cities.
From Portland to Bristol.
So, yeah, I'm going to leave it at that. The US equivalent of the city of Bristol, the city of Portland.
You're welcome.
Oregon. You're welcome. That was it.
That was it.
Paula Abdul in Bristol.
Wonder if Paula Abdul's ever been to Bristol.
Look it up.
Paula Abdul, Bristol.
You know you're just going to get pictures of her at
Bristol Farms. Bristol Farms is a very zhuzhy supermarket here. Okay. Not quite, but Paula Abdul married Brad Beckerman at the New England Carousel Museum in Bristol, Connecticut.
Well, there we go.
1996. The couple divorced in 1998.
A carousel museum. I think we're really skipping past the fact that she got married in a museum for carousels.
Oh, I could totally see her like...
Oh, yeah.
Performing on the carousel. Like,
I bet that was her wedding. Instead of walking down the aisle, it was like... Pow! And her just like jumping over different horses and swinging around poles.
Totally.
I do.
Well, that was...
She marry MC Skat Kat at any point?
No, he officiated.
Do you, Paula, take this man's hand?
Guess who's getting married today? It's Paula Abdul, and this guy's not gay. So thank you very much for listening, everyone.
Sure.
Do give us a shout. Rate and review us.
Please, when you get this kind of quality content.
Fucking review us. Give us a shout on Instagram, email us, do all the usual things, and we'll be back very soon. And we will start our new spin-off show about the Osbournes soon as well.
Sure thing. Bye.
You are right up my street.
Oh, you can't make me choose.
Igo by Toyota sponsors T4.
Fuck me, Lee Ryan's 13.
I remember we couldn't remember the word for table.